Good afternoon. Can you hear me, please? Good afternoon. Good afternoon, our viewers. Welcome and thank you for joining us on today's episode of Punchline interview with
Hello.
Seun Kuti. Good afternoon, Mr. Kuti. I am Adimola Oloniwa. Thank you for joining us on our platform. How have you been today, sir? Mr.
Nice
Kuti,
to be on the show.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
But I don't know, maybe you can turn up your volume a bit.
Okay, I will do that now. Is it any better now?
For your mic, just so I can hear you.
Okay, I'm doing that now.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, good. So today we are going to talk about the protest that has rocked Nigeria and even the global space for about 2 or more weeks, talking about the NSAS movement. But basically and primarily, we are going to talk about what is the next step forward. We both said, I don't know if you heard the president's speech. Did you hear the president's speech, Mr. Kuti?
Are you giving another one?
The last one he gave, where he said that moving forward, he wanted the protest to stop. So I would like to ask you, what next? We've seen some people say that they are still going to go back to the streets after the coffee has been lifted. But
well, for me, it is whatever the reaction of the Nigerian people should be to a request by our president. Is justified. If the people if the people continue to protest, it's justified. I mean, we also request that the president should not increase fuel. They increased it. We beg that he should not increase electric. He increased it. So if you beg that we should not protest and we feel like protesting, I don't see anything wrong with that. But for me, if the people protest and we do not create an organization to capture the energy of that protest, then there's no reason for us to protest at all. That's why right now, I'm putting all my energy towards solidifying my organization, the Nigeria Resistance Movement, which anybody can check on nigeriaresistance.org, which is growing right now because we are trying to capture the spirit of the moment, because it's obvious that there's nothing we can gain from our elected leaders. We, the people of Nigeria, must, free ourselves by ourselves. We must be the ones to free ourselves by ourselves.
Thinking about that movement, is it a political organization? Is it just a movement?
Yes, definitely is a political organization that is looking into becoming a political party. So the Nigeria Resistance right now is the platform of the movement. So that's why it's Nigeria Resistance Movement. And we are going to very soon launch the Save We campaign, which is going to be basically the financial side of the movement that is going to reach out to Nigerians of everyday Nigerians to try and fund the platform that we need to elevate ourselves. Then from then on, we have to move into a political party. So those are the 3 main steps that we must take right now. So NRM's job right now is not only looking for members, we're also looking for people that will take positions of responsibility within the organization, to establish us in all the different local governments in Nigeria. And the response has been quite interesting, quite alarming. I have to say at this point, I want to thank so many Nigerian people for coming forward. I didn't even believe that I'll have so many people that have been having to choose. I'll have choice, So in that respect, I know the Nigerian people are doing everything in their power to take their future into their own hands. And for me, that is the main gain that we from this protest,
Looking at the history of the family, we've always known your family to be one that had always spoken when it comes to injustice in the society. But we've never seen, I don't think we've seen a situation whereby your family, that the Anikulapo Kuti family, involved in politics. Is this you saying that you are going to, now you've launched the NRM, Or is this you saying that you now go into politics, or like your predecessors? Yeah.
No, my father was a politician for a long time. Many people forget that my father had the movement of the people in the 70s, but the government refused to register the party. They claimed then that he did not have representation in all the states in Nigeria, which was a false claim anyway. But to give you a quick context of what the movement of the people, how big it was, Shagari's party, MPN, I think, which went on to win the election, had their rally at Tafawa Balewa Square, and it was 80,000 people. Movement of the people had their rally the following week, and it was 280,000 people. So my father was a big-time politician that had presidential aspirations. My uncle too served as a minister, even though he wasn't a professional politician or a lifetime politician. My uncle served as a minister, as everybody knows, and then also as the chairman of primary health care. My grandmother served in many political positions in unions, because people always think it's electoral politics alone that makes you a politician. People in unions are also politicians, and my grandparents, both my grandfather and my grandmother, were head of both teachers and women's unions all through their lives. So I think political participation is a big part of my heritage.
Now, like you said, your grandmother, your father, your uncle had also been a part of politics, and you have a rich history about their political life. What do you think you do different, or what do you think they did wrong that you are going to fine-tune to make yours better and actually have the positive impact at which you want to achieve?
I don't think they did anything wrong at all. You cannot look at those that fought for us and say, "Oh, you did something wrong," from our own high horse, or we have not even matched what they have accomplished. So let me accomplish what they've done politically first, and I'll start telling you if they've done something wrong that I want to.
Now let's talk about the EndSARS movement that rocked Nigeria for weeks. It took a negative toll about last week Tuesday, which nobody.
In what sense?
Talking about the Lekki massacre, the shootout and the like. Now, like we said, some youths are saying they are still going to come out to protest. What do you think they should do this time around in order to forestall such an incident?
Well, I think there's nothing we can do to stop the oppressor from being an oppressor. I don't think it is in the hands of the Nigerian people to stop the Nigerian government from firing shots at them and killing them. But we talk about the Lekki massacre. It was a Lagos-wide shooting of people. People were shot in Orile. People were shot in Igondo. People were shot in Lagos Island. In fact, most of the places where police stations were burnt, people were shot. So it was not only in Lekki. Let's not even create some kind of elitist narrative, caring about only the lives that were lost in Lekki. People were killed all over the state for protesting their rights. People were killed. I'm sure people have seen the viral video of the military Air Force officer scolding the Nigerian policeman. Now, why is this shooting at the protesters? They are here, they are begging them to stop shooting, but they refuse to listen. So people should not talk as if it's only in Lekki that people went through this brutality and overhanded use of force against the Nigerian people. So I mean, it was a statewide attack. They started with thugs with knives and cutlasses. They are illegal. They went from their illegal thugs to their official thugs, and they unleashed both on the people of this country. So let's not talk as if it was only in Lekki. Abuja, how about what happened to people in Abuja?
But so far,
Benin, Cross Rivers, everywhere.
As a Nigerian youth, how do you feel that so far not much has been done about the shootings nationwide, like you said? How do you feel about that?
I don't feel anything about that, because it is not today that our government, that African life is cheap in Africa. You know, the day I learned this thing, it was from from the president of the South African Mining Association, mining workers. The Maracana massacre in South Africa, is that what they called it? Where the South African police shot 34 protesting miners just because they wanted better benefits for working in that company a few years ago. So I was watching the documentary on it, and the man was saying, he was saying to his members that they shouldn't go and protest that day. And as soon, even if they decide to go there, even as soon as the police comes, they should disperse. Because he knows for a fact that black lives are cheap in Africa. And the man was crying, he was shedding tears when he said this. And so for the man to know this, so he went there the day the police came again to beg his miners to let them withdraw. The people wanted to stand their ground. Then the police shot 34 of them in cold blood. Until today, nothing has happened, So, I mean, what are we going to say here? It's not only in Nigeria. What is happening to our brothers in Congo? Is there justice for any African man whose life is lost? In America, where you say they are civilized, when they kill black people, do you see justice? No, I mean, because black lives are cheap, and if we continue to allow the narrative of our oppressors to dominate our consciousness, then we will never take our life seriously. We will never.
But the government have said that they are instituting panels to investigate these claims, and they want
the unknown order.
Can you explain more on what you mean by the unknown order?
I don't believe in their panel. That's when they burnt Kalakuta. That's why they did panel too and killed Fumilayo. After the whole thing, they say, okay, yes, it's true. What we did is wrong, but we don't know the soldiers that did it or no soldier. So don't be surprised at the end of all this one. They say, yes, what happened was wrong, but we don't know the person that gave the order, unknown order. So get ready. Unknown order is 2020 version. Nonsense.
But the government had actually asked some youths to be on this panel. Some of them are declined. Don't you think if youths actually participate in these panels, for a change, they might get what they're clamoring for?
Yeah, as if youths have not been participating in this politics since 2020. When Wike became a politician, commissioner and other, wasn't he in his 30s? Rotimi Amici, when he started politics, wasn't he in his 30s in this country? It is not about young people or youth or anything like that. It's about the mindset that dominates governance in this country. It's about the kind of relationship that the elites want to have with the people of this country, which is a slave master and slave relationship. You understand? That's all. Because I don't see the reason why we are looking for representatives when we just elected representatives in this country. Both young and old, we elected leaders in this country. And these leaders are telling us to go and bring new representatives from among ourselves to discuss justice. I mean, why is justice always so complicated in Africa? Why? And it's only justice when the poor are looking for justice. You understand? If there was rich men's children that were shot or killed in that Lekki or anywhere else in this Lagos, that people were killed, I'm sure they will not be using panels to find out who did it. I'm sure justice will follow its usual smooth course. People will be landing in jails by now. So I mean, anyway, that's it. That's it.
Well, looking at another turn of events that happened during the space of this protest is the fact that some Nigerians took into warehouse and carted away with goods which were meant for COVID-19 palliatives, and some other went the extra mile to be burgling and looting shops. As one that has been active when it comes to activism in the country, when you saw this switch or this turn of events, I mean, what came to your mind?
Nothing came to my mind. I saw it as, there were two factions of people outside. There were the political thugs and there were the people, the poor people of this country. Now, even the thugs that I believe were employed by politicians, to scare the middle class, because they know that the middle class of Nigeria respects property over people. They put their things over the life of people. So as long as the Nigerian middle class can collect their salary to open their small shops and be doing their side hustle, the government can continue to destroy the homes of poor people kill poor people by their thousands, and the middle class will not make one noise. But as soon as one table is broken, hey, Nigerian middle class will stand up. Why all this destruction? Why all this spoiling of property? Why all this looting of shops? Whereas they sit back and watch the government loot the lives of these people. I post on my Instagram page right now the communities that were destroyed for this so-called Lekki concession area. Communities that were, their properties, their homes were destroyed by force to claim land for the rich in this country who were all quiet. Wasn't that loss of property? Wasn't that destruction of property? What did anybody say? Who rose up in this country? I still remember when they destroyed Morocco for all their Banana Island people today and Lekki Phase 1 people. When they destroyed it, at least there was some resistance by the middle class of Nigeria at that time. There was still a little bit of camaraderie with the poor compared to the silence. Look at what they just did in Takwa Bay. Everybody quiet. Look at what they did to fellow artists like us in Igomu, near National Theatre, an artistic village that has been there for decades, creating wonderful art that has gone to inspire so many. The way they destroyed everything, all the property of the artists there, everybody quiet. So let's not now speak as if we care about destruction of property. We just hate poor people so much in this country that whatever they do must be wrong in our eye. You know, even some people even find fault in people going to take palliatives that should have been distributed since May. Aisha Buhari made a statement that it's obvious that Buhari is not the problem of Nigeria when people started discovering palliatives. I beg to disagree with her. What that showed us is that Buhari is not the only problem of Nigeria. You understand? He's also a problem, but not the only one. So for me, I don't see anything. You know, poor people have been violated, harassed, robbed, their future stolen. I mean, without the corruption and looting of the rich, would there be such a thing as a political thug in Nigeria, hooligans on the streets? You know, and we as the middle class of Nigeria, we are quiet when these things are happening. When their children are dying of hunger, we are quiet because we can buy food in the mall. When their children can't go to school, the public school is defunded, destroyed. No child that goes there can learn anything. We are quiet because our own children are in public school, right? When they are dying, our own children are in private schools. We are paying school fees for our own children in private schools, right? When they are dying in the hospitals, we are quiet because general hospital is bad. Our own children go to private hospital. We don't care. High infant mortality rate, high maternity death rate. We don't care. They don't have light. We have gen. They don't have water. We have borehole. They don't have road. We have jeeps. So we too, we are oppressors in waiting. Let's not deceive ourselves. We have completely alienated, severed whatever ties we have with these people. So instead of us going around blaming them for acting isolated as they are, they acted in isolation. Let us begin to rebuild those bridges for our communities. Let us begin to rebuild those bridges so that the poor people of Nigeria know that the middle class of Nigeria stands with them. Or else, just the way it is a middle class person that a politician will give money to go and share to these boys, right? It is not politicians that go themselves to share money for political violence. It's somebody from our class they will give the money to that will go and share it for them. If we don't stop this our behavior, that's how when they are coming for the politicians, they will have to go through us too. You understand?
But like you said,
that's what I think about that.
But like you said we need to build
also
bridges.
The government has looted Kalakuta and Shrine. In fact, the federal government of Nigeria are still sitting on my family land that they looted. After burning our house, the land, I say it's unknown soldier. The government still sees the land until today. Our looted land is still in their hand. You know, so nobody should tell me that you are crying because they looted your store. Stand on the side of people. Nobody will lose your store. That's it. The people you are protecting, God, they are professional looters. If you want to stop looting, let's stop all looting. All looting must stop. Not only the looting that favors your Oga. All looting should stop.
But does this make the action right? Does this based on what you just explained, Mr. Kuti, does this make the action? Does this justify the action?
Of course, it justifies it to them. It justifies it completely. One man's meat is another man's poison. If the Nigerian middle class do not become class conscious and begin to align with the people, I just told you, when the politicians are coming to the poor, they don't go to the poor themselves. It is us, the middle class, they send to the poor to spoil their communities. We are the ones that will drive the bulldozer to go and bulldoze their homes. We are the ones that will write the legal work framework in the civil servants. We are the ones facilitating the oppression. So until we change that our own mindset, when the poor are coming for the oppressors, they will have to go through us too. The way the oppressor uses us to demolish them, that's how they too will come through us to demolish the oppressor. Do you understand what I'm saying? For example, your newspaper and other media houses were busy calling poor Nigerians thugs and hoodlums, instead of calling them what they truly were, poor people fighting for their rights. Now, to the people that might have lost something, I understand that. Everybody will feel bad if they lose something, right? Yeah, but are we going to take 1 second to think about all those people, what they've lost in their lives as well? So this is a society that has no balance. If we do not reflect ourselves, if we do not sit down and reflect and say, look at me, what am I doing to change this system? Until that time, you cannot, I mean, when it happens, it happens. The professionals and the middle class of Nigeria must begin to build bridges with the poor people of this country. We must no longer turn our backs because it's now obvious that we are not protected. If it happens, all these people you are protecting, they will enter their private jet, they'll carry their children, they'll enter their boats, they'll carry their children, they will run away. We'll be the ones left holding the bag. So if we don't want that to be the case, we must now, in our banks, stop aiding and abetting money laundering. No matter what, loud it or it's okay. Let the world know what is happening. Because without our bankers, these poor people's future cannot be laundered out of this country. If you're in real estate and they're using you to deprive the people of public housing, and you're taking poor people's land and you are building your private project on it, then you're part of the problem. You must stop all those things. When how many public housing projects has this government given to the people? How many have they delivered compared to the high rent estates they are building and the palatial mansions they are building for themselves? Where is the poor people in this narrative? The majority of Nigerians, I might add, the majority of Nigerians. So where are they in this conversation? So for me, one man's meat is another man's poison. This is not a matter of right or wrong. As you said, justified. To them, it is justified. Let's use the tale of two Obas. Oba of Lagos, they storm his palace. All his community were looking like this. Oba of Ijora, they want to storm his palace. His community came out and said no. Why do you think there was a difference? Why did one Oba jump first, run through the back door, and one Oba came out through the front door to face his people? What's the difference? If we can answer that question, then we'll answer the question you just asked.
Okay. Thank you for your explanation. Just as an aside, the words we use on our platform are actually, they always have a dictionary meaning that connotes exactly the situation of things that happen. But like I said, that's an aside. However, you made something that we should bridge the gap between, I mean, the middle class and those referred to as the poor people, the low. How do you think we can reorientate the low income earners to understand that, okay, we're all together in this fight against our oppressors? In what ways do you think we can reorientate them and say, okay, well, this fight is a fight now for everybody? because we all know this NSAS protest, this NSAS activities, activities affected virtually everybody from the low earners to the middle class and even some rich people. So in your perspective, how do you think we can actually reorientate these people and know that let's all stay together? So in case next time we are protesting for Nigeria, we would not see a case where some people hijack it and actually try and just make people lose direction or focus.
No, I think the people that were, don't get me wrong, the people that were violent in this protest were hired thugs by politicians. Politicians hired their usual thugs to do what they usually do. Many people in the, like in my neighborhood, let me give you, in my neighborhood, for example, people came out and blocked the road, and they will not let anybody pass. You see, that kind of civil disobedience happened all over town, and that was the majority of poor people's reaction. The ones that were jumping around and doing their own mayhem, those were hired. The action the poor people in this Nigeria took was to block their neighborhoods. Let us not forget that. So the best way to invest our time in creating a platform that can reach these people, that can bring these people's aspirations to the fore politically. As we are working on this platform, are you there? Can you hear me? Okay, perfect, because you are stuck on my screen. I can't see you moving or anything. So while we are building that, we should now go into the grassroots of our communities. There are 700 and
Yes, I can. I'm with you. Sorry for the interruption.
Can you hear me now?
I can. Yes, I can.
We have to send a clear message. So how do we engage them? How do we let them know we are for us? We have to change something in our consciousness as the middle class of Nigeria. We have to send clear signals to the poor people of this country that we have put their lives above things. That nothing, no single thing, be it property, be it money, be it car, be it opportunity, nothing will be put above the life of a single person in this country ever again. The moment we start to move that way as Nigerian professionals, the moment we start to move that way as the middle class, that, you know, this top, because top simply means things over people. To make it to the top, you must put things over people. So until we change this top and turn it upside down to pots, people over things, then the poor people of Nigeria are not stupid. They will always come through us to come to their oppressor. You understand? So we must begin to put things over people. The narrative I saw in our discussions were appalling, I'm sorry. That people had died, our people had died in this country, and we had time to be talking about some building, some shop, things that can be replaced, things that are insured. And what kind of slave even complains when the plantation is burning down? I don't know what kind of slave complains that the plantation is burning. Yeah, that's the house slave, the one that is enjoying with master. So if you know you're not enjoying with master, you can't be complaining right now. Because what do we want in this country? People should be suffering in silence, generation after generation after generation after. You should just be quiet and be suffering and be dying and be hungry and be ignorant and uneducated. What thing happen now? Let's reignite our humanity as Nigerians. Who did this to us? Let's be human beings again, man.
Now, you in the beginning stage of our discussion, you spoke about your movement, which you want to transform into a political party. But we both know that the youth need to have PVCs. Now, I've been seeing cases online where youths are now saying, please let us start the distribution and registration for PVCs now, not to wait for 2 months to election. So far, we've not heard anything about that. Why do you think that is the case?
Well, I think these are the early days of agitation. Our first call can never be answered. We must keep the pressure up. If our energy is still high by this time next year, then be sure that INEC will be thinking about releasing PVC early, because we'll be making that much loud noise for so long it's consistent. So let's just keep the energy up. Let's not stop, let's not relent, and let's not forget that no matter what we do, until we are all free in Nigeria, until we all have opportunity to attain our full potential in Nigeria, then none of us have it. If everybody is not free, nobody is free. If everybody is not living in peace, nobody is living in peace. You understand? So that must be our new mindset. We must be willing to see this through to the end. Our oppressors are already afraid, they are shaking. Trust me. Everything they are doing now is out of fear, because they know they have failed. So we, the people, must not fail ourselves.
So finally, let's round it up, and once again, thank you for your time. Mr. Kuti, what do you think is the short...
No, Mr. Yale, I never miss my star.
What exactly do you think should be the immediate things the youth should do from now till maybe when it's time for political awareness? What are those short-term goals you think we should actually do now?
There's no short-term goal for the youth. Everything here is long-term. The first thing is we need to start raising consciousness. As a young person, you have to start raising your consciousness, because no nation can rise above the consciousness of its people. So you see, the level of Nigeria today is the level of our consciousness. The more we raise our consciousness, the more we raise our country. So raise your consciousness to raise your nation. Secondly, we have to continue to organize. I'm not saying everybody should come and join NRM. If you don't believe in Pan-Africanist, socialist road to freedom, fine, go and find the one you adhere to, or join something. And join it with the mindset that you are not putting things over people, but you are trying to change this country for the better for everybody. Let that be the goal, Let's abandon the selfish interest of past generations, the egotism of past generations, the selfishness. Let's start a new kind of politics amongst ourselves, This is the long-term goal. This is the short-term goal. This is the mid-term goal. This is all goals. Organize.
Do you think the older generation of politicians would not put up a fight?
Whether they like which will put up a fight too? They put up a fight, you put up a fight. Did you tell them we are putting up a play? We are not putting up a play.
All right. Thank you so much, Seun Kuti, for your time. We really appreciate it. And to our viewers, thank you for tuning in and for staying tuned and watching this lovely interview with Seun Kuti. Stay blessed and have a wonderful day. I'm Ademola Oloniwa.